Hi there, and welcome to part 14 of my Silver Solstice series, which is an analysis of my most recent channeled video, the Rainbow Portal Silver Ray and the Two Worlds Split Winter Solstice 2017. So this is part 14. Yet in this, you stand firm and you stand strong and you present your boundaries. You present your boundaries with compassion, even if it be from afar, and it need not be within physical proximity. You say, I love you, I understand, I am here for you, I am here to show you the way to the new world. And as you do this, as you offer your hand whilst standing firm and standing strong, you activate the silver thread that intertwines with the golden thread, and you become a master. You become a master on earth, a resident of the new earth, the new fifth dimensional earth. So much of this was actually explained in part 13. I spoke in part 13 about standing strong and presenting boundaries, and how you present those boundaries with compassion, even if it be from afar. So you don't have to be in the proximity of the individual or group that you are helping. You can be doing this energetically from afar. You can be doing this via the new media, as I am, through YouTube. You can be writing books, you can be creating music, artwork, and many other types of creativity. So it need not be within physical proximity. You say, I love you, I understand, I am here for you. So this is energetically and potentially literally what you are saying to these individuals that you are helping in various ways. I am here for you, I am here to show you the way to the new world. So energetically, this is the energy that you are projecting towards these sleeping individuals who will be needing assistance and are needing assistance. I'm here to show you the way to the new world. I've already spoken about the individuals who don't feel as though they want to assist because of the issues to do with waiting and the frustrations that they have with that. I addressed that in part 13. So as I said, not leaving those people out, and completely understand where they're coming from as well. For those who do feel the compassion, which is part of the activation of this golden thread and certainly of the silver ray, they will want to assist. Many starseeds will have had this in them since childhood. They have wanted to help deeply from as long as they can remember. So that is now being fulfilled, that wish that you came in with, because it's so strong, that code was so strong, it will have been there since you were little. So you will have wanted to help others that were hurt. You might befriend lost children at school that nobody seems to want, the individuals that are bullied. You might want to help insects and animals, and you may have been different as a child, though. You may have been one of the bullies, and you may have been harming animals. This would have been you working with the shadow, releasing leftover stuff from pre-incarnate lives, working out the indigo pattern. So we have a crystal and an indigo pattern here with these children, and as they grow they will have been balancing these. So starseeds can come in all forms, really lovely, helpful, sweet children, and children that appear to be really naughty, angry children, but also potentially have that indigo energy in them. And as you do this, as you offer your hand whilst standing firm and standing strong, so you are compassionate and loving, but you are standing strong and bringing in your boundaries. You have the crystal aspect and the indigo aspect when you are offering your assistance or delivering your messages or presenting your activations to these individuals. And standing strong, you activate the silver thread. So as you do this, you are activating the silver thread, you are activating the silver ray through your assistance, your help, and your ability to stand strong. Now, why? Why do you activate the silver thread, the silver ray? Well, it's because when you are compassionate and loving and exercising the crystal aspect, but simultaneously standing strong with boundaries and activating the indigo aspect, you are also balancing the male-female energetics, which is the left and right hemispheres of the brain, which are in turn the gold and silver rays. So you are standing within that balance that's coming in with this divine feminine energy that is settling into a very balanced pattern. It's been working its way in, it's been coming up for quite some time, but now with this December 2017 portal and the winter solstice, the feminine energy is settling into absolute balance with the masculine. So it empowers the masculine as the masculine envelops, nurtures and protects the feminine. So it comes into its absolute true form across this planet. And this is what we are seeing tangibly. So that's why you activate the silver thread, the silver ray. And as you do this, you become a master on earth. You become a master because you are in balance. You take the middle ground, the middle way. Because when you activate the two, the left and the right, the male and the female, the gold and the silver, you activate the three. You move into the triangle, the trinity, the trine, which isn't necessarily discussed in this particular transmission. Now with color, the golden ray and the silver ray would merge together to create the rose gold ray. This is a new frequency for 2018 and 2019. So this is energy that will be coming online next year and the year after. But all of this takes you into that path of mastery. You become a master on earth. And this is because you're walking within the fifth dimension and you have this enveloped fifth dimensional vortex, this reality, this rainbow reality bubble around you. So you are sustaining fifth dimensional energetics through the male-female merge and the balance of the gold and silver rays. You are sustaining this energy, making you a master on earth, a resident of the new earth. So you live there. You've moved there. You are a resident of the new earth. That's your planet now. That's where you live because of this formation. And remember, all of this is occurring within the DNA. This is a DNA code. This is a new strand formation. The new fifth dimensional earth. So that becomes your home, wherever you are and wherever you may be. So all of that's been discussed in previous parts. The newly awakened, reluctant, aware one, burdened by newfound knowledge of the shadow that he did not want or acknowledge, may choose not to follow you to the new earth. And as that choice is made by many, the awareness of the third earth will then be made known to you. The three-way world split, the sacred trine shall then be formed or come into form, for all already exists. So I was talking about the sacred trine. I seem to be jumping ahead and speaking about the next paragraph before I've looked at it. So the newly awakened, reluctant aware one. I find that quite funny from the 9, the reluctant aware one. That's yeah. Burdened by newfound knowledge of the shadow that he did not want or acknowledge. So we have this newly awakened individual, a reluctant aware one, a very reluctant awakened individual. They've had their eyes wide opened, if you like, shocked open. They can't go back to sleep, much as they want to, because this new reality is right in front of their eyes. They can't turn away from it because it's there. So they have to acknowledge it. But they're reluctant because they wanted their old reality. That was safe. That was what they knew. They didn't want it to be shaken away from them. So they're burdened by newfound knowledge of the shadow. So when we as starseeds think of knowledge of the shadow, we release that as a burden as we learn to move into an enlightenment and an ascension process. And obviously, starseeds have done this before. When they get to the 0 point and they activate that sacred wheel that I was talking about, that's in my book, Divine Architecture and the Starseed Template, the sacred wheel, and they're in that 0 point, holding that power within the solar plexus and the heart, anchoring that sacred wheel, then they have done this before because there's no time within the reality that they exist within. Therefore, everything has been done before. So one could say that these are reincarnated individuals who've already been through an ascension process, which is why they're starseeds. They're seeded from the stars, they've come in from other planetary systems to assist this planet, but they've already been through an ascension process. They're already fifth dimensional. All of that's true completely from a linear perspective. So in a linear perspective, we're looking at souls coming in from other planets because there's space within linear perspective. They're coming in from other planets to Earth, incarnating. They've done this before because they're already higher dimensional beings, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional beings. So they're coming back down to the third dimension, into this reality, into this incarnation to assist with ascension. In a linear perspective, that's accurate, which is why you will hear this story and this presentation from many teachers. Yet to look at the 0 point, now moment, fifth dimensional perspective or multidimensional perspective, when you activate the sacred wheel and you build your divine architecture, you are then moving into the past, the future, the quantum realities and the ancestral lines simultaneously. You anchor this within the pivot point at the point of the solar plexus in the heart. Therefore, you are one of those starseeds that's done this before. You are coming in from another planet. So even if your memories have only just come online since the activation of the sacred wheel, so last week in linear time, you weren't a starseed because you weren't awake and you didn't know any of this. So you weren't a starseed, you were a sleeping individual, you were an earth individual. The minute you go to the 0 point, there is no time. You are all things. Therefore, you become a starseed, and you have done this before. You have been through an ascension process before, and you remember this because remembering is knowing. Does this mean that every single individual on planet Earth is a starseed? Yes, it does. From that perspective, does that also mean that some individuals are starseeds and some are not? Yes, it does, from the linear perspective. So that's, again, a big one with starseeds, because you'll have some people get quite cross and say, oh, you call yourself a starseed. We're all starseeds. Yes, we are. Then you'll have other people say, well, no, the starseeds are the ones that have come here from other planetary systems to assist this planet. They're not individuals from Earth, they're from Arcturus and Orion and the Pleiades and Andromeda and Lyra and wherever. Other planets we don't even know the names of. Well, all that's true as well. All that's absolutely true. They're both true from different perspectives. The newly awakened reluctant aware one, burdened by newfound knowledge of the shadow that he did not want. He didn't want this. Of course he didn't. Who wants the shadow? But you do want the shadow when you become awakened. But when you're not awakened, you don't, because it's not comfortable. Or acknowledge. So he didn't want or acknowledge. He didn't want to acknowledge this, didn't want to see it, know about it. He was happy, or she was happy in his or her reality, and didn't want this shaking of reality and showing this new reality that now makes everything they've ever known a lie or unreal or untrue. May choose not to follow you to the new earth. So this particular newly awakened aware one may say, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to the new earth. I don't want to be in the fifth dimension. I like it here. And as that choice is made by many, so what the 9 is saying here is, I mean, they do tend to come in on the most probable timeline when they are delivering messages. So it does look in this material, in this particular transmission, that many individuals make the choice not to follow to the new earth. Now, might they change their mind and eventually go to the new earth with new triggerings that are occurring in the future? I mean, the 9 say to me, this depends on the starseeds and the mission that they follow and the job that they do, and it depends on the receiving of those codes that the starseeds give and the assistance that the starseeds give. It depends on how they receive it. So that timeline's not written yet. So the most probable one at the time of this transmission, which is now, is that many make the decision not to go to the new Earth. I don't know how many is, but many is a lot. But that doesn't mean it will definitely be that way, but that's the most probable at this time. And as the choice is made by many, as many choose to not go to the new Earth, that's when the awareness of the third Earth will be made known to you, because their consciousness is saying, well, I can't be here anymore. I don't want to be here in this Earth, but I'm not going there. I'm not ready for that. So they create through their intention, their consciousness, their projection, they create simultaneously to it creating itself. It becomes together as a trajectory. So the new Earth's always existed, but at the same time it's created because of their desire and their intention to not be here at point A or here at point B. Point C is created. It's a new trajectory. The awareness of the third Earth will be made known to you. So once many choose not to go to the new Earth, we as starseeds, and potentially those who are newly awakened and reluctantly awakened, certainly the starseeds will begin to see the third Earth. So that hasn't come online yet for the majority of individuals going through a collective ascension process. There are those who have seen it. There are teachers out there and advanced meditators and master magicians and enlightened individuals that are aware of this three-world split, and they see the third world, the third Earth. They see this. But when you are following the collective ascension process, which is where the majority are, that third Earth has not made itself known to us yet. Now, what that will look like, most probably in a third dimensional reality, is a polarization in three ways. So at the moment, we've got a dualistic extreme polarization. We've got the people over here and the people over there. That's pretty much what it looks like tangibly. It looks as though when the third world is presented, as many choose not to go there or to stay here, they will go there. So we're going to have a threefold energetic, a three-way split. So we will see this group of people, this group of people, and this group of people. But that's not tangible yet. I don't have any time for that. I would hazard a guess, based on what I'm looking at here in this message, I would hazard a guess that this would be around the 2018-2019 time period. It may be 2020, 2021. I'm expecting different geometries by 2020 and 2021, but I don't look that far ahead. But it isn't now. It may well be next year, or certainly the year after, when we have this three-way split. So as that choice is made by many, so many choose not to go to the new Earth, but they don't want to be here, the awareness of the third Earth will be made known to you. The three-way world split, the sacred trine, shall then be formed or come into form, for all already exists. Well, I've already discussed the time periods between the third dimension and the fifth dimension. Don't need to go over that again. But if we look at this sacred trine here, what seems to be happening on the tangible third dimensional reality is mirrored within the higher dimensions. So as this three-world split takes place within the third dimensional reality, we, the starseeds, the awakened ones, the aware ones within the fifth dimensional reality, will be merging the gold and the silver to create the rose gold ray. So we are creating our trine on a collective level. So there's always this parallel and this mirroring. Everything's occurring in this reality and it mirrors within the higher realities, as above, so below, that sort of thing. Yet this choice has not yet occurred within your physical timeline. So the Nine is saying this three-world split hasn't occurred yet. It's not become manifest. Therefore, we do not present the three-way world split at this time. So that's why the Nine are not talking about it, because for the 9 to come forward, as they present energy, when they present energy and deliver information, and I decode that, that isn't just a message, it's an activation simultaneously. Therefore, everything the 9 say is a creative tool as well as a presentation of a potential. So they're creating it. So the 9 don't want to influence any trajectory at this point that hasn't come into the reality, because the 9 hail from, as they repeatedly tell me, a timeline where the whole of humanity goes to the new earth. They are polarized within the service to others vibration. Therefore, they will be wanting a full positive ascension polarity process. That is the creation they wish to create, and therefore anyone working with that vibration, that unconditional love, divine Christ vibration, will wish for the same. However, we live in a 3rd dimensional reality, and it doesn't always come about in exactly that way. Like, there are beings who wish for a fully polarized negative ascension or descension process. They would like the whole of the planet to be negative and no one to ascend, and everyone to go into a control system, a fall system, a fallen reality structure, and a hive mind. Now, it looks as though neither the negative nor the positive are going to have their full manifestation on a global level. Having said that, there are individualized timelines. Therefore, someone who is fully following the trajectory of a full positive polarized ascension process will experience that individually within their timeline. So they may see other individuals experiencing negative or neutral or unpolarized realities, but the reality they experience is a full positive ascension process, because they will move into the timeline where everybody ascends. There are other beings who will move into a reality where nobody ascends and everyone goes to a descension and a hive mind. We're not on that energy. And unless somebody who's watching this video is, and that's fine, but the majority of people watching this video are on the positive polarity. So that's why when some people say only some people are going to ascend, or nobody will be left behind, everyone's going, and others are saying, well, it looks as though not that many are going, only a few are going to ascend. All of this is true. Every single statement there is true, depending on which timeline you're looking from and which reality you're looking from. So the 9 will only bring forward a message when that's come into the trajectory as the most probable, and it's looking as though that's what's going to manifest. Or they will bring forward a message that will move into the creation that they, as a positive polarized group, soul structure, wish to create, but only when it's in alignment with our free will. So they will only come in and assist where we are also there. So if enough people are saying, I want full ascension, I want a positive ascension, I want everyone to ascend, and this is the reality I'm going to see, when that gets to critical mass, the 9 will, and all other structures, divine beings that individuals are channeling within the positive Christ vibration, all of those individuals that have reached critical mass, they can receive those messages, and anyone in a star-seeded positive polarization will probably be getting their own guidance system showing them these timelines. So that's why you have different spiritual teachers saying different things, because their message is a creation. So you might even see some spiritual teachers say things like, I can't really say much about that actually, so I'm not going to discuss it. And I know you have people there thinking, well, why not? Why won't you tell us what you see? Why are you hiding things from us? then you're as bad as the service to self. The reason why is because they've seen a potential trajectory, and if they talk about it, it's a creation, because the minute something is observed, it becomes reality. Therefore, if we don't want to create a reality yet, or the timing isn't right, then we won't observe it. And we certainly won't present it to others. So that's why there's all these different teachings that are sometimes a bit different, and why some beings won't talk about things and teachers won't. It's all to do with the fact that a message is also a creation at the same time. Yet this choice has not yet occurred within your physical timeline, therefore we do not present the three-way world split at this time. So I've answered that. There will be those that remain within the old earth. There will be those that choose to turn away from the old earth, but do not or cannot access the new earth. And it is these that walk towards the third earth. So I've already kind of discussed that. Some will choose to stay here. They just don't want to be in that fifth dimensional energy. They like this reality. They don't want to go anywhere new. They will stay here. There will be those that choose to turn away from the old earth. So it's like, I can't stay there anymore. It's just changed and I don't like that reality, but I don't want to go there either. It's too shiny and light and I can't reach it and I can't get there and I don't want it, whatever it may be. And they create this new earth, or rather they line up with the trajectory of that which has already been created. Both are true. A new third dimension. So this isn't just a new earth, it's a new third dimension. And that's a difficult one. It's like, well, does that mean there are two third dimensions? Well, no and yes is the answer to that. There's only one third dimension, but there will be two structures within it. One will be individuals that wish to stay within the third dimension as it is, the current world, the current earth, and the others will go to a new third dimension. So one could see this as three planets. This planet Earth, the fifth dimensional planet Earth, and a new third dimensional planet. Or you could see it as three dimensions. And in the physical reality on a tangible level, this is a three-way split between three demographics, if you like, but they won't be geologically in the same place. They'll be consciously in the same place. So they could be miles and miles apart from one another. So this new third dimension will be one that contains This new third dimension will be one that contains the fallout from the apocalyptic reveal of the service to self structure and its collapse. So this new third dimension, in it will have this apocalypse kind of energy, as in this reveal and this fallout and this rebuilding. But within that reality, there's no service, I won't say there's no, but there isn't the same service to self-control system that there is now, because that's fallen, that's already crumbled, it's already gone. You remember what I was saying in one of the earliest Silver Solstice series about the box is the third dimension, the structure is a little box and it's full of marbles, and all the marbles are crumbling and crystals are coming in. Well, that new earth will be the box with the crystals in. The old earth is the box with the marbles, and the fifth dimensional earth is the crystal palace. So we've got three different metaphors here. So that new earth will contain the fallout from the apocalyptic reveal of the service to self structure and its collapse. So that's the rebuilding, the fallout of what's happened. And there will be those that do follow you into the new earth. So there will be those who aren't awake right now, who are going to wake up, and they will go to the new earth. What the trajectory that the 9 are hailing from, it's where they exist. If they are me in the future, then they present from that future, and in that future, everyone's there. There is only the fifth dimension, and everyone is in the fifth dimension. So everyone ascends to the fifth dimension. That's the trajectory that any positively polarized individual will be moving towards. But in the third dimension, we haven't got there yet. As I've explained before in previous parts, we've got different time periods. So in the third dimension, some people could go over here, some people might stay here, and some people might go there, because it hasn't happened yet. So there will be those that do follow you into the new earth. So the 9 can speak about that. They're not going to say at the moment that everyone goes to the new earth, because that hasn't happened yet in the linear reality. But it has happened in the linear reality as a precognitive view. So the observation has taken place. That's been observed, therefore it can be discussed. And that is that there are individuals that do go to the new earth. That's been observed. So it's set, even though it hasn't happened yet, it's actually fallen into the setting of the timeline, if you like. The new world, the world of the 5th dimension. So yes, there will be those, and the mission of the starseeds is to gather as many as possible and help as many as possible and usher them into the new world. We are here to assist the planet and humanity to go through an ascension process and raise the vibration of the planet and of humanity. So that's what we are doing by assisting those who want to go to the 5th dimension to go there. We are helping them to find their way there in whatever way that may be. Your responsibility is ultimately to yourself and your own personal Mer-Ka-Bah aspect and your alignment and knowing of source as source. As you help another, you help other than self. Yet through service to others, the other is self. So indeed, you assist and help self. So when the 9 say your responsibility, they are directly addressing you and you alone. So we've spoken about others, the help of others, how we feel about others, how we can usher them into these different realities, different worlds, different dimensions. But then the 9 bring this back to your responsibility. They're speaking to you and you alone. So from that point of view, you move away the viewpoint of others, and then you look at self. What is my responsibility? Just mine. That's paramount always. It doesn't mean you are selfish. It doesn't mean you are service to self. It doesn't mean you're putting yourself first. It means you are in alignment. And when you are in alignment, you will be looking at your responsibility simultaneously to the service to others. Service to others is service to self and other simultaneously, for other is self. Service to self is only to self and not to other at all, unless other can serve self. Similar, but vastly different and completely opposing. Your responsibility is ultimately to yourself and your own personal Mer-Ka-Bah aspect. So this is the structure. This is what I was talking about in divine architecture in the starseed template, the building of your divine architecture, the sacred geometry. This is the template, this is the light body, this is the DNA activation, the crystalline structure. Your responsibility ultimately is to that, to your development, because it takes you into that point I was talking about in earlier parts, takes you to the crest, and in that crest is everything. Therefore, you are in service to others when you are in service to self through positive polarization. You can never not be in service to others when you are in service to self through positive polarization. It's only when you polarize negatively that you are not in service to others. You are fully in service to self through a negative polarization. Your responsibility is ultimately to yourself and your own personal Mer-Ka-Bah aspect and your alignment and knowing of source as source. Your alignment is your trajectory. Your knowing is your anchoring into that pivot point of that matrix. And again, one model, the divine architecture in the starseed template is one model. There are many models. You can follow many teachers and find this alignment through many different ways. Your alignment and your knowing of source as source. So what does that actually mean? So your knowing of source is you know what source is that it is source. The knowing of source as source is, you know what the alignment, the true alignment is, the true God aspect, the Christ, the Christ. You know it's that point, and that point is you. That's what this means, knowing of source as source. That's the Christ, the point. It's full alignment. It's the full trajectory of the vertical pillar of light. It is the horizontal rainbow bridge pathway, forward, back, side to side. It is the diagonal, and it is you in your anchoring of your solar plexus and heart, which is the male and the female, if you like, and just in a different alignment. It's the vertical presentation of the male and female, power, male, heart, female, gold and silver. So you're getting all these metaphors in at the same time, and you take that central point. You then know you are source. So knowing of source as source. As you help another, you help other. So you're helping your friend. That friend is other than you. It's not you, it's other. So you're helping another, you help other than self. So that other, that friend is not self, it's other. Yet through service to others, the other is self. So when you go into a service to others energetic, which is a positive polarization, you know you're all one. You are unified. Therefore, that friend of yours is you. So indeed, you assist and help self. So as you help your friend, you are helping yourself. You are in alignment with source as source, because that other, that friend is you. So you take both these dualistic viewpoints. My friend, say her name is Rebecca. Rebecca is not me. I'm Magenta, she's Rebecca, and we're completely separate. And that keeps me grounded in the third dimension because I know we're separate. And yet, when I'm in alignment with absolute truth, Rebecca is me and I am her. So when I help her, I'm helping myself. But within that, we have the boundaries and all the other things I've discussed. So indeed, you assist and help self. Yet within the physical dimension, you are separate. I've done it again. I've spoken ahead before the next bit. Yet within the physical dimension, you are separate, and your ultimate responsibility is to the manifested version of self that you experience in the now, which is you. So it's a big one because many people feel that they're failing in service to self because they're not in service to, failing in service to others, not service to self, failing in service to others because they're not helping other people, because they're not ready, or they have a health condition they need to look at, or they're tired, or they're focused on their own job, or they've got children, or whatever it may be. They feel they're failing because they're not in service to others. I hope this has explained what service to others is and how you are not failing by taking responsibility for self. That's not a failure, and that does not mean you are service to self when you are fully aware that self is other. So you're switching between these different polarities and you're merging them so they become one in the way that you think and in your consciousness. Yet within the physical dimension, you are separate. So you are fully aware Rebecca and Magenta are separate. I know Rebecca's me, and when she needs help, I'm going to help her. And by helping her, I am serving self and other simultaneously because she is me. But within the physical dimension, Rebecca and I are separate. And your ultimate responsibility, so as Magenta, my ultimate responsibility and your ultimate responsibility is to the manifested version of self that you experience in the now, which is you. So your ultimate responsibility is to yourself. My ultimate responsibility is to myself, but not me alone. If I only thought of Magenta and not Rebecca and not you, I wouldn't be making these videos. I'd be sat downstairs watching telly or reading a book or being selfish. I wouldn't be giving. But because I know you are me and Rebecca's me, my role is in service to the other aspect of me, which is you. But my ultimate responsibility is my Mer-Ka-Bah field and my ascension and activation. That's the place to take. And it's a very giving, loving, compassionate selfishness, if you like. It isn't selfish in the common use of the word. It's alignment to self, the knowing that self is other, and the unity of that. I know I'm going over and over and over the same thing here, but I will say that many people misunderstand the difference between service to self and service to others. I've had many clients, in fact, I would say pretty much not every single one, but the majority of my clients have had this issue between service to self and service to others, and the polarization into the positive. So I really hope my explanation is assisting you here, because this is massively important, because you don't want to feel as though you are failing. If you are on this path, you are not failing. You are not failing. I promise you. You make the choice. If you are listening to these words and embracing the codes, messages, and activations within this transmission, then you have already made your choice. So it's your choice to make whether you take this path or not. But if you're listening to these words and embracing the codes, messages, and activations within this transmission, you've already made your choice. Now, that doesn't mean that you're listening to Magenta, Pixie, and the 9, therefore you've made the right choice and you're ascending because you're here watching this video. That's not what the 9 mean. What the 9 mean are, if you are on this path and you are listening to these words and embracing these codes, messages, and activations, whether they come through Magenta, Pixie, and the 9, or through you yourself, or through your neighbor, your friend, or some other spiritual teacher, some other book, some other doctrine or teaching, or wherever it comes from, then you've made your choice. The fact that you're here watching this video shows you've made the choice, because you wouldn't have stayed listening to this to the end if you weren't on that pathway, unless you are here for a different agenda, and if so, hello, and that's fine. Everyone is welcome. So the last line here, and we've now reached the end of this analysis. I'd just like to say it's been real fun and doing this. So yeah, it's kind of sad to finish. I shall miss you all. I will be back with more videos though, don't worry. Anyway, the last line is, and it's really lovely: welcome to the new earth, bearer of the rainbow code and the silver light stream. Your future awaits. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. So I won't analyze that last line, because I need to leave something here that is of the original energy. So I will say once more, welcome to the new earth, bearer of the rainbow code and the silver light stream. Your future awaits. Thank you all so much for listening to my Silver Solstice series. Have a wonderful winter solstice, a very happy Christmas and New Year. And I will be with you again soon. Lots of love. Bye.
We are now at a time in our planetary evolution known as ascension. Those individuals we can call starseeds are currently in their millions and are collectively going through this awakening process. In this book, the 9 bring forward memory triggers designed to act as a catalyst into the awakening process. They present a model of working with the individualized matrix field, known also as the Mer-Ka-Bah, through matrix architecture, Mer-Ka-Bah magic, and the golden triad of ascension, presenting an in-depth analysis and explanation of the twin flame consciousness and how this relates to the ascension, as well as providing triggers to the collective memory experience known as Atlantis. This transmission is designed to trigger your multidimensional memory as you begin the construction of the Mer-Ka-Bah matrix and embrace the inner archetype of the architect, The triggers contained within this material are there to assist you in accessing the codes for the new formation of the original crystalline DNA matrix. I, Magenta Pixie, am so happy to present this transmission to you from the White-Winged Collective Consciousness of 9, Divine Architecture and the Starseed template.